I heard my wife make a comment about how she has me trained so well that I come home my lunch break to do the dishes and she called me her dish, B-I-T-C-H. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Am I the a-hole for no longer doing the dishes after my wife called me her dish, B-I-T-C-H? And guys, this story is all about a guy. He's obviously married, kids, the whole 9 yards. And apparently, every day on his lunch break during the work week, he lives really close to his house. He'll come home, do some chores, dishes, change the laundry, take out the trash, little things like that to help out. So that way, at night when they're all home, he can spend more quality time with his family. A nice thing to do. Not required, but he's doing things to help out. Well, one day, he's at home, I guess, and he overhears his wife, who's having a little get-together with her girlfriends. They're probably sitting around drinking. I'm sure there was wine going on there. And essentially, he heard her making fun of him for him helping out around the house, where she even called him her dish bitch. All right? And so as you can imagine, the guy was pretty pissed off about this, given the fact that he's taking his time to do this and help out, and she's making fun of him. Now, as you can imagine, some people, and I'll get to this later in the comment section, thought maybe he was overreacting to this, but many did not. And this guy decided, like, hey, screw you. If you're going to make fun of me, you're going to insult me in front of your friends, who are probably bitching about their husbands and all, or significant others, I'm not going to do the dishes anymore. And as you're going to see here in the story, she doesn't take it too well. And instead of apologizing or saying, I didn't really mean it that way, in a way that showed that she actually meant that, she turned it around and make him out to be the bad guy here. And as you guys can probably imagine, what would happen if she overheard him making fun of her, right? To his friends. It wouldn't go too well. But anyhow, guys, I'm going to read through this story here, and I'll let you guys determine, in your opinion, if the guy was overreacting or she was the one in the wrong here, and I'll get more into that later. So it starts off, he says, my office is only a couple miles from my house, so I usually go home for lunch every day. Since it's so close, I have time to do the dishes, take out the trash, switch the laundry, etc. before I go back to work. I find it's a nice use of my lunch break-up time, and it helps free up time in the evening so I can relax more with my family. Okay, the guy's being thoughtful, he's helping out. A good guy would do that. Again, not required. There are guys that wouldn't do that, but this guy's trying to help out. A couple weeks ago, my wife had a few girlfriends over for drinks. Okay, that's right, drinks. I was in the other room watching TV, but I could hear them talking and laughing, and I heard my wife make a comment about how she has me trained so well, I come home on my lunch break to do the dishes, and she called me her dish bitch. That is rude. Okay, in my opinion, that is absolutely not cool. It'd be one thing if, like, let's just say, he was doing some dishes, and she came up behind him and gave him a kiss and a hug and jokingly to him said, ha ha ha, you're my dish bitch. You know, that would be one thing, okay? Some guys would be offended by that, but if she was smiling and didn't mean it in a rude, condescending way, but was totally kidding, that'd been one thing. But to say this in front of a bunch of other women, who I'm sure were cackling on about their guys or something like that, that is not cool. That is rude. And to make matters worse, there's alcohol involved, so it takes it to a new level. That's disrespect, okay? And this guy, he's helping out. And this is the thanks he gets, the disrespect. It really rubbed me the wrong way. Even if she was joking with her friends, it felt really demeaning to me and felt like she was putting me down so she could feel bigger in her front of her friends. Well, here's a question. Do gals ever really have friends? They really have frenemies who try to one-up each other. The old Al Bundy line, don't try to understand women. Women understand women. They hate each other. So who knows what was going on there. But the bottom line is this. And by the way, I talk about this all the time on other channel. When your gut is telling you something's wrong, or something doesn't feel right, then go with that. All right? And so if his reaction was to be pissed off about that or taken back, then that's usually the accurate one. So I didn't do the dishes or any more chores when I was at home at lunch the next day. My wife gets home from work that night, my wife gets home before me every day, and instead of coming home to clean the kitchen and empty the sink, there are dishes piled up and the trash needs to be taken out, etc. So the one time he doesn't do it and she can't help out. Or she'll never do it if he doesn't do it. When I got home, my wife was doing the dishes and told me I need to give her a hand because she needs to get dinner started. Why should he have to do anything? He helps out every freaking day. She asked if I came home from lunch that day, and I said I did. She asked, why didn't I do the dishes? And I told her that her dish bitch was on strike. She stopped what she was doing and looked at me with her mouth open. Yeah, surprise, honey, I heard your whole conversation with you and your cackling hens. I told her that, yeah, I heard what she said and that I don't appreciate her putting me down to her friends just so that she can feel good about herself. She said she was just joking around and she doesn't really think about me that way. Yeah, but if she didn't think that, she wouldn't have said that. End of story. She was trying to look cool in front of her friends. Who knows what they were probably saying about their guys. And in my opinion, if a woman's saying that about you in front of their other friends, even if it's meant to be as a joke, there was some level of her meaning what she said. Therefore, she was looking down on him in some way. And remember, guys, if a woman doesn't respect you, she sure as hell ain't going to love you. So I'd love to know about other elements of the relationship. I like to know what she's like with him normally, how she treats him, how often they hook up, things like that, which isn't mentioned here. That would say a lot of things. Remember, when it comes to everybody in life, you pay attention to their actions, not their words, but especially women. I told her that she would flip her shit if she heard me talking about that way to my friends. She said they were just joking around and they didn't mean actually what and it didn't mean she actually thought that. I told her I wanted to believe her, but I honestly don't think she was just joking. I told her I just might start to going out to eat at lunch or take lunch from the office from now on. In other words, you can do the dishes. You can take out the garbage if that's how you see me. And of course she's going to deny it, but she's again not trying to really look at it from his point of view, instead just twisting it around, making him about to be the bad guy. And again, what would happen if he was with his buddies, right? And they're hanging out, having some beers, maybe playing some poker, I don't know what, at the house, and he was making jokes about her, referring to her or calling her like a Stepford wife. Like, let's just say she took care of all the cooking, cleaning, all that, and he called her that, and she overheard it. You don't think she'd be pissed off about that? You don't think if she posted something on Reddit, my husband was making fun of me, calling me a Stepford wife, or maybe she was mowing the lawn, he was making fun of her about that. You can't tell me that she wouldn't get a whole lot of people backing her and making him out to be the bad guy. But when a guy calls her on this, well, then he's just overreacting. See what I mean? She told me I was being petty and overreacting. I told her I don't think I am. She then asked me if I was going to help her with the dishes so she can start dinner, and I said, no, I don't think I will. I told her I will play with the kids to keep them distracted since we were having a late dinner that night. After the kids went to bed, she told me I was being an a-hole about the one little joke that she didn't even mean, and I was blowing this way out of proportion. Again, if the situation was reversed and he said something on that level, you can't tell me that she wouldn't be annoyed about it, and if she reacted in the same way, nobody would have a problem with it. See? I told her she knows how much she'd freak out at me if I said something like that, so I don't think I'm overreacting at all. I told her respect goes both ways, and she doesn't need to put me down to her friends to make herself feel bigger. And so essentially he's wondering, is he the a-hole here? And in my opinion, no. Because he trusted his gut, And again, like I said before, I want to acknowledge this. If she walked up to him and it was just the two of them, and he's doing some dishes or whatever, and she walked up to him, kind of gave him a hug and kissed him on the cheek like from behind and said, oh, you're my dish bitch, just joking in that manner, that'd be one thing. But to say it publicly amongst a bunch of people, that's something else. So I think that she's the one who's being the a-hole. So if he essentially wants to go on strike for a little while, that's her fault. But again, her making him out to be the bad guy, not cool. Now, I'll read a few comments because I like to hear what other people have to say. One guy says, yep, that joke didn't come from nowhere. If she didn't, at least a little think that way, how would the term have entered her head? She's only trying to downplay it because admitting how terrible this would mean that she'd have to make up to the OP by changing up the agreement or her apologizing at all, let alone profusely. And it looks like she isn't ready to accept either of those outcomes. This really rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, exactly. Another guy says, not the a-hole. You are exactly correct. If the situation was reversed, you'd be torn a new one for demeaning your wife, even if it was just a joke. Respect goes both ways. It's not nice to talk about your partner like that behind their back, and neither is it nice for you to take your partner's actions for granted. Yeah. That's the thanks he got for every day coming home from his lunch break. And by the way, he could have had a lunch break where he would relax, do things that he enjoyed, but instead he came home to do some chores to help out so he could spend time with his family. And that's the thanks he got, so I'd go on strike too. Another guy says, agree. We see stories on this sub every day about women complaining their husbands are lazy as fuck. This guy is thoughtful and uses his lunch to get some extra work done so his family can spend time together. She opened her big trap and got what she deserved. Nothing. If he said that if she was his dish bitch to the friends, she would have lit his ass on fire. It wouldn't be just a joke then, would it? Yeah, exactly. A lot of guys don't do anything around the house. And I think a guy can do dishes and take out the trash and things like that. I think that's more than reasonable. Okay, even do some laundry for God's sakes, or some shopping or cooking. But there are guys that don't. And you'll have women that'll complain they don't do anything, but now the guy actually tries to help and they're making fun of him. See what I mean? Not cool. Another one says here, and this is longer but true, he says, that's what strikes me the most worrisome aspect. She's hanging out with the girls, maybe a few are complaining about their partners, they've all had several glasses of wine. Yeah, I can see how this can make the kind of comment in the moment. It happens. However, she now knows her husband overheard it, knows it was inappropriate and he was deeply offended, and knows that if the roles are reversed, she'd be raising hell. What's her response? No apology, no validating his feelings, accuse him of being petty and not giving her a pass. I think the OP is onto something about her having a conscious or unconscious belief that his contributions to the household are things that she trained him to be, as if he were a pet, and not because he saw those as chores that need to get done, and decides it's worth giving up some of his break to knock them out. She sees his positive qualities not as being conscientious and proactive, but as being obedient and trainable. Yeah. No woman no woman talks about their guy like he is like their servant, or like he's pee-whipped, if they actually respect him. Okay, no way. So believe me, I guarantee you, for whatever reasons, and it's probably well beyond the whole him doing dishes and helping out, she has lost respect for him in some way. I'm not justifying her actions in any way. She's being the a-hole here. She's the a-hole, not him. And obviously that's her opinion of him. And sadly, that's the opinion a lot of wives have towards their guys, because a lot of guys screw up, but also a lot of gals, nowadays especially, are a-holes themselves. So I don't blame this guy at all. I would no longer do dishes. I'd say, okay, you're going to help out from now on. I did my part to help out. You were making fun of me, worse yet, in front of the people. So at that point then, she can do the dishes. End of story. And maybe if you start showing some appreciation, maybe I'll help out. Done. Because again, we all know darn well that if he was making fun of her, calling her a Stepford wife, like say she did everything and he was making fun of her, she'd have a problem with that. And it would be warranted. And believe me, if she posted online that story, it would be a hellfire of people going against him. So we know darn well how that works. Anyway, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think. Was he overreacting? Or was he overreacting and is he the a-hole here? Or this was warranted and he's not the a-hole? I'd like to hear your opinion about that. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.